is up, and it's good.
You're listening to The Extra Point. Welcome.
Ladies, gentlemen, and all those in between or outside of it, welcome to Monday Night Mock Drafts with Evan, right here on The Extra Point, coming to you every Monday evening until week 1 of the NFL season. I am your host, Evan Sather. Tonight, my guest is a man who's been all over the fantasy football industry, and he's making some big-time content on 2 major websites. He is a writer for Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life and The Football Guys. He's also a co-host of the Fantasy Football Q&A with Greg and Tipp on the Sports Affiliation channel on YouTube. Please welcome to the show, Tipp Major. Tipp, so glad to see you again, my friend. How have you been?
Dude, Evan, what's going on, man? I love the intro. Evan. But I gotta say one thing. I need a Raiders logo somewhere on that intro, bro. Look, I need a Raiders highlight, something. I need the Raiders. I'm so amped up about them this year.
Gosh, with the way they've drafted this year and the brand new talent. So Fernando Mendoza is somebody who may or may not start in his first year, with Kirk Cousins being added at a discount after the Atlanta Falcons overpaid him and then decided to release him. So now you've got the big shiny new quarterback. So being the Raiders fan, I got to hear it from you, Tipp. So A, are you excited for Fernando Mendoza? And B, do you think Mendoza starts at all this year?
You know, this year, they're going to come out with a plan of starting Kirk Cousins for the whole season, right? Unless it just goes terribly wrong or he gets hurt. Those are the only real reasons. But if we hover around 500, we're, immediate, which I think we're going to be. We're going to hover around a 500 team. I think Kirk Cousins could stay there the whole season. Why risk getting Fernando Mendoza out there when the season is already lost? You want to get him some reps. But I think that he's going to get plenty of reps. He's getting reps now. He's getting plenty of reps. There's nothing like game reps, but I think that can wait with the pedigree that you got with him, with the pedigree of his coach and Clint Kubiak and what he's done and what he can do with this offense as well. And one key piece is this Rick Dennison piece, man. I want people to understand where Clint Kubiak goes, Rick Dennison follows. Rick Dennison is one of those guys who was with his dad back with Clint Kubiak, and they just know each other. They just know their scheme. They know their fit. It just fits well. And when you have that, and it's been going on for now generations, that it's different. So I love the fact that they hired him. He's an older guy, but you know what? They mesh. So they may not even need to say much. So that'll be fun. But I'm just excited about this team in a whole. I think that Fernando Mendoza is the future, obviously, but I don't think I could see where he doesn't play this season at all. Again, if something catastrophic happens with the bad injury or it just really goes sideways quick, then we'll see Fernando.
Most definitely. And it seems like a lot of fantasy football dynasty managers who have already done their rookie drafts, so maybe disappointed that they're not going to be able to start Mendoza this year, but at least we can rest assured at number 1 overall pick, there's no way he doesn't play, right?
Right. Look, guys, you might have to sit him on the bench a year. Hopefully you already have some quarterbacks that you can slide in right now. Like hopefully you're not like me and have Dak Prescott and Jacoby Brissett as their quarterback, even though I won that league. But that's not a good quarterback tandem you want to have in your your super flex league. But I'll tell you, if you got something like that, just wait that year. Fernando will be fine. You might get a bonus. You might get him this year. Let's see. The kid is, look, he skipped his White House visit. He said, I am all in. I'm locked in. I'm the lowest guy on the totem pole. Like he's saying all of these things that you want to hear.
No, Mendoza's been really good in the press. Even if you think he's basically a crossover in personality between Kirk Cousins and Tim Tebow, okay, maybe we can look past that a little bit as long as his play backs it up.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%.
But yeah, the Raiders seemed like they were excited to get this guy. They already had Brian Greasy looking over the playbook with Fernando Mendoza
Yep.
early before they even drafted him. They were ready for this young man to
Yep.
come right in and be the guy. Even if he doesn't start right away, hey, at least they finally got their guy. But what does this mean for the Raiders defense at this point? Because we thought Max Crosby was a Baltimore Raven. Then the Ravens said, well, he failed his physical. Screw you guys. You can take him back. So at this point, what does the defense even look like for the Raiders?
No, look. So the brighter days are ahead for the defense as well. I mean, don't forget we got Kwity Paye over there as well, who is very underrated. In my eyes, I think he's really good. And then you also got the brothers from Georgia. You got Nakobe Dean and Quay Walk. I mean, like this that one of the things that I looked at when I looked at this team, I was like, on the defensive side, I was like, we need linebackers. I was so upset when Robert Spillane left, man, because he was just that guy, that enforcer in the middle of the field. And it just really broke my heart to see him leave to the Patriots of all. And so now we got some guys who can fit that bill, who can get to the quarterback, who can play different aspects of that linebacking position, and they're very versatile. So and then you partner that up with the secondary, who I think is a very underrated secondary. You got Terry and Jackson from Buffalo. I love that pickup. I thought that was a great pickup. And
I agree.
look, yeah, I mean, you got guys who want to go after and get the ball. And then when you mix that in with Max Crosby, who, say what you will, you're back home. I think he's here to stay. And you got a recipe for disaster, man. Like, I think that this is really good. And we got a kid in the draft, a defensive tackle, too. That I think he's just going to fit the ball. Like, all of that is going to mesh in and fit together. And look, man, I'm really, really excited for this team.
AFC West, look out. The Raiders might actually be contending with the Kansas City Chiefs for the top of the division again, even if the Chiefs finally get their offense together with Eric Bieniemy back in the OC role. But I don't think you necessarily want to talk Chiefs here, being the enemy. But
I'll talk Chiefs. Look, I'll talk Chiefs. I'll talk Broncos. I'll talk. Like, I will not talk Chargers.
fair enough.
Look.
Yes. Well, speaking of Los Angeles football teams, you actually just wrote an article recently about Ty Simpson over on the Rams and where to draft him. This is on fantasylife.com, ladies and gents, if you want to take a look at this article. So yeah, you opened this article in like the best way possible with we can swear on this channel. Fuck them picks.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah.
Yes. So that's basically what the Rams have been doing for the past several years, and now number 13 pick Ty Simpson. So without spoiling too much of the article, Tip.
Yeah.
I'm not a believer in Ty Simpson. I think he's going to be another Anthony Richardson that doesn't work out, even in a Sean McVay like a high class system. Am I wrong for this? And what are we thinking here for Ty Simpson's dynasty value? We're not running a superflex draft tonight, but even in a one quarterback draft, where's he going?
One quarterback, no, you're not touching him. Don't do it right now. Why would you do that to yourself? Unless you're like getting a backup to the backup. Like, no, you're not going to do that. And then if you're doing something like that, it's got to be like a 24 round, some crazy shit like that. Like, I'm not going to go out there and actively draft Ty Simpson in a one QB league. However, and I'm going to do my Stephen A. Smith. However, in a 2 QB league, I will absolutely. It's just like you said, Evan. You just said it. This high class offense. I think for me, that's just enough. For if I have a quarterback, and I talk about this in the article, because you got to understand your situation and you got to understand your league mate situations. But I'll just say this: if I have a situation where I like my quarterbacks, maybe I'm passing up on Ty Simpson. But if I'm in a situation where I have Jacoby Brissett and Dak Prescott, you better damn well believe I'm going to go after Ty Simpson, because, I mean, Dak Prescott's he's got several years left in him. He does get injured from time to time, and this is a even year. And if you go back and look at his odd versus even years, the injuries happen on the odd year. It's a weird thing about him. But like if you look at that, and then you look at Jacoby Brissett, who I mean, yeah, he's a starter this week or right now, but who's to say he's going to be the starter when they're 1-4, or like it's just I don't know about him. So I'm looking at a guy like Ty Simpson in that case because I know I'm not going to get anything out of it now, but there's definitely no future with Jacoby Brissett. He could get back onto the bench and be on somebody's bench for the rest of his career. Ty Simpson, on the other hand, I think has a shot because Stetson Bennett is going to beat him out? No. And then you got Matthew Stafford, obviously, but how many more years does Matthew Stafford have? That's another question because he was definitive about wanting to come back this year. And I mean, the way he was throwing it last year, it doesn't look like he's lost a step to me. Maybe a little bit.
We shall see. The man's held together by metaphorical duct tape and bubble gum, and who knows how much longer that's going to work. But let's not keep the people waiting that much longer. Tip, let's get this show on the road. Are you ready, my friend?
I am.
Let's get this started. I'm going to go ahead and click start. Folks, don't mind the fourth round that's in this draft. That's because I have everything sorted by position, and it forces you to have 4 rounds as a result of putting 4 positions into the categories. So I will make sure to stop this draft at the 401 to make it a real 3-round thing. But being that this is a 1-quarterback PPR league in 12 teams that we're assuming that this is based on, I don't really see a world in which you do anything but Jeremiah Love at the 101 here. I was a guest last Wednesday on the Fantasy Six Packs Dynasty Six Pack show where we did a Superflex mock draft, and I went Fernando Mendoza over Jeremiah Love. Now, obviously, we're not going to do that here in a 1-quarterback league, but if you're super desperate at quarterback, is there really a case to grab Mendoza over Love, even in a 1-quarterback setting?
I'm still gonna go Love, but I'm not happy about it, man, because that Cardinal situation is just just murky. Because you got Tyler Algier, who wanted to get starter money, couldn't get it for whatever reason, and now he's got a chip on his shoulder. They just drafted this rookie. I mean, Tyler Algier is a 1,000-yard back. People like the dude had 8 touchdowns last year. I'm a little nervous about Jeremiah Love, but I want to put myself in a position where I want to win now, Evan, and I can't do that with Fernando Mendoza because he's not going to play week 1 and maybe even beyond.
You weren't lying either about Tyler Algier being capable of being a 1,000-yard back because he did that in his rookie year in 2022 before the Falcons went out and got Bijan Robinson the following year. And even then, he was still getting just shy of 700 yards on the ground, which I could absolutely... He's really good as a complimentary back. I could easily see him going between 550 and 650 again behind Jeremiah Love. Even then, like, do you see Jeremiah Love being slowly weaned in, being that he's the number 3 overall pick?
No, I think they're gonna. I don't think they know what they're gonna do with it. It's almost like I think they should have gone a different way because you already had your running back position almost solidified, and now you jumbled it up with this, and I think they're going to give him a shot at first. Obviously, you spent that capital on him. What James Conner, if he makes it through training camp, like no, and then you got Tyler Algier there. They got Trey Benson, who's very talented too. He just can't stay healthy, so that's his issue. So I mean, I think they're going to give Jeremiah Love as much touches as he possibly can handle right off the gate, but it's not like he's going to run away and be a full workhorse. Man, look, Tyler Algier, they're going to soon find out in training camp how good this dude really is. And I think they're going to be pleased with him. And it's going to turn into a nice little tandem.
That Cardinals running game was just so bad last year, too, where they had to roll Michael Carter. That's how bad the backfield was. And even then, like, the Cardinals were like the worst rushing team in the league, allowing Brissett to throw 40-plus times a game as you're making your first pick here. We've talked enough about how Jacoby Brissett is obviously not the future for the Arizona Cardinals. They went out and got Carson Beck in a later round as a project quarterback they could potentially roll out there if something were to happen to Brissett, being that the 2027 rookie quarterback draft class is looking mighty juicy on paper, for lack of a better way to put it. But Jacoby Brissett obviously is not going to be throwing consistently 40 times a game anymore now that they added Jeremiah Love, even with an offensive line that's probably still not going to be good, right?
Right. No, that's what they want to get away from that because I mean last year, like you said, that's all they did is he threw the ball. They threw the ball the most. So they want to get away from that. But I just think that defense is so bad and so terrible. Like you're gonna find yourselves getting back in that situation yet again. It's one of those things where yeah they're gonna try to run the ball, but then when they find themselves down double digits or 20 points and in a blink of an eye, they're gonna have to throw the ball. And so it's gonna be again, like I was saying, I think that the Tyler Algier, Jeremiah Love combination would be it's a nice combination in NFL terms. It's really I think it'll be cool. Fantasy though, I think it's gonna be hard to gauge. I think it's gonna be hard to gauge for people. They're gonna be like 1 week Jeremiah Love, and then the next week it'll be Tyler Algier 2 weeks in a row, and then it's like I think it's gonna be really really hard for people to gauge on this one.
Definitely. So speaking of running backs, Jadarian Price went at the 102, picked by Lordo Fonta. So Jadarian Price, taken as 32nd overall for back end of the first round of this year's draft. I said what I called a very diabolical thing to say on the Dynasty Six-Pack show where I said I could see a case of taking Price over the 3 wide receivers we see here on this board, Tate, Tyson, and Lemon if you really need a running back. Would you happen to agree with me on that tip where there's probably a case where you could take a shot on a Price over any of those wide receivers if you really need a running back?
Yeah, but no, because it's like as soon as Zach Charbonnet comes back, you're gonna be finding yourself in this messed up, god awful situation like the Cardinals. So it's like, I mean, he's in a good situation right now. So if you're looking for it right now, yes. But over the course of the whole season, or whenever uh, Zach Zach Charbonnet comes back, then I'm just gonna be like, I don't know how prices. I don't know what price is gonna look like. There we
Yeah, pun intended. So, yeah, and Charbonnet's going to be out for a little while with that ACL tear. I mean, I don't think there's any.
I heard no, I heard that that, and this is a rumor. You know how this stuff is, but there's a shot he could get back at earlier in the season than what people thought.
Yeah, because I mean, with the way that we've been rehabbing ACL surgeries and the science has been advancing,
Yeah.
it would not surprise me if he pulls a Patrick Mahomes and somehow is ready for Week 1. But I don't know. Maybe you've read different things than me. Like I haven't read anything about Charbonnet having any shot of being ready for Week 1, which would give some Jadarian Price some good
No,
looks.
not week 1, but earlier than what people are thinking that he was supposed to scheduled to come back. Not week 1. No, no, no. I don't think that would be a scientific miracle, I believe. But no, they just think that he could be back sooner than what we're thinking.
Yeah, 100%. So this has been a bit interesting so far to see a lot of these wide receivers going here. I went Nicholas Singleton as my second running back off the board at the 201. I like him better than what ADP says right now over Emmett Johnson, Jonah Coleman, Mike Washington. ADP's a bit behind right now with all the rookies. We're going to see that adjust over the summer, but I like the opportunity that Singleton has in this Tennessee Titans backfield. There's no way it's the Tony Pollard show for the rest of the Titans' foreseeable future. We're not expecting Singleton to be the next Derrick Henry, but what do you think about Nicholas Singleton at this point? Does he have a good shot?
I think he does have a good shot. Over the course of time, not right away, still nursing that foot injury. So, I think overall though for Dynasty, look, you did good, kid. It's like this is a good pickup because you're right. It's a team that needed. They were linked to to Jeremiah Love, the Titans. They were linked to him for the longest, and then Cardinals got him. So now you got another young rookie that I think Nick Singleton. Look, this dude didn't hurt his. The kid is dynamic. So they've got a playmaker on their hands. He's fun to watch with the ball in his hands. So yeah, I like this pickup for you, Evan. I think it was good. And second on that, I like as my pick comes up. I like that the Claiborne pick too. I like that kid. I know he's little. I know a lot of people are thinking on asking questions on that. but I like him, man. I think he's very fluid with the ball in his hand. I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm doing it. I'm going Mike Washington Jr. I think he's very fluid with the ball in his hand. He gets good. He does good things when he's in space too. I really like that Claiborne kid.
Yeah, Claiborne is going to be interesting to see with the speed that he's got to see if he can carve out anything on offense rather than special teams. Getting to Mike Washington pick though. I was pretty sad when he fell to your Raiders, being that I'm like, oh, they've already got Ashton Genty. I'm out on Washington in Dynasty now. But, I'm not surprised that the Raiders probably want a good 1-2 punch to make up for how badly that offensive line needs to be rebuilt. If you don't already have Ashton Genty in Dynasty, can you make a case to pick up Mike Washington?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to say this right now. As a Raiders fan, I've had to sit through the last couple of years where the run game has been non-existent. We have run the ball on average the last 2 seasons like 22 times a game. That's not going to get it done. That's going to get you number one picks. So you come in, you bring in a guy like Clint Kubiak, you bring in a guy like Rick Dennison, you bolster up this offensive line, you get some guard help, you get Ashton Genty some help too, because Ashton Genty is a very dynamic player, but I don't think that in the NFL he can do it, like he can handle that full load all season long. That's where Mike Washington Jr. comes in. That's where the Thunder and the Lightning comes in as well. And I think Mike Washington Jr. and Ashton Genty will complement each other very well. And not only that, Clint Kubiak, if you look at his system, he's always had a 1-2 punch. The last few systems, he's had a 1-2 punch. Again, look, this is a really, really dynamic 1-2 punch. And I remember last year, they even floated out having Ashton Genty play in the slot and getting reps like that. So I'm pretty sure you'll probably see Clint Kubiak toying with that too. Maybe I don't know. I remember seeing some film on that and I was like, wow, that'll be cool. So
we're not going to see Dylan Laub. We're not going to see any more Zamir White.
Dylan Laub on special teams. He's a good special team guy. He is good on special teams. But Zamir White, bye. Like, you're out, brother.
God, I remember trying to be hyped up about Zamir White, thinking he was going to be the Jacobs replacement.
There's a few people, and I was just like, eh.
Man, I saw the Raiders trying to run. I saw them trying to run Jacobs into the ground. What was that, 2022 or 2023? And then they just they gave him a franchise tag, and I'm just like, don't you usually run running backs into the ground when you're ready to get rid of them?
Right. That's crazy, man.
Speaking of I have to figure out my 301 pick here because I am not a fan of a lot of these rookies back here, but I'm still going to give Max Clare a chance because, a second round pick, you usually don't take a tight end in the second round if he doesn't have good hands to catch the football. And the Rams have definitely been struggling to find their pass catcher. We were just talking about Ty Simpson. I mean, granted, we're not going to see Ty Simpson throwing him the ball outside of preseason, but Max Clare catching passes from Stafford. What do you think about this kid's prospect profile? I say kid because I think everybody under 25 is a kid to me. Excuse my old ass, but what are you thinking about Max Clare? Is he finally going to be the guy in this Rams offense at tight end?
I think they're going to be running a lot of 13 personnel. That's what they do, right? Everybody knows. I do like his chances of being on the field more because he's a really, really good blocker, right? He's not that good at route running. That's going to be something that he needs to work on, but he's a good blocker, and that's going to keep you on the field most of the time. Terrence Ferguson, on the other hand, will be more the guy. I think Claire could get a little work into, but I think Terrence Ferguson's the guy that I don't want to give too much because I'm actually writing about him right now on some things that I've heard and what I've seen. But I think that Claire will get the opportunity to be more of the blocking tight end right now because I think they have other targets for obviously Puka, Devontae Adams. You got Kyron Williams. And then I think Terrence Ferguson is that other guy. I think there's really a shot that Terrence Ferguson is dang, there is really nobody here, dude. This is beyond sad. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna go ahead and check Jacoby Lane. I've been taking him in a lot of drafts. But going back to the Rams, I just think that it's one of those situations where I think people might be sleeping on young T Ferg a little bit, man. And this article that I'm writing right now as we speak, it talks a little bit about maybe we're missing something. Maybe we're not. Maybe I'm missing it. But I think that this could be another wake up call for a young player, and let's see what the kid's made out of.
I don't think it's going to be Colby Parkinson either, or Davis Allen, or any of their like 19 tight ends they've got on the team.
No, those guys are there for like. Well, even McVay said last year when they brought in Terrence Ferguson that they had a really great group of tight ends to help mold this young guy. I think Terrence Ferguson, man, I think he's in for a pretty big year.
That we'll have to see, because if I'm not mistaken, I believe Ferguson was also a second-round pick last year too. Please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong.
Nope.
Yeah, 46 overall. You're right. But so yeah, that was a bit of a surprise pick that they went out and got Max Clare to pair up with him. So I guess we'll see which one emerges. But it looks like, I think you're right. I think Ferguson definitely has the inside track to be the breakout. Where I mean, Clare is something like 8 pounds lighter than Terrence Ferguson. So I'm thinking, like, if you're 6'5" and 250 pounds, if you can't block, what are you even doing in the NFL, right?
Well, Ferguson's not a bad blocker either. I just, he was, it coming out last year, he was known to be a pretty decent blocker. So I think it's going to be very interesting what they do with these tight end, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Devontae Adams, because we sure can't possibly imagine we're going to get the same type of touchdowns that we got last year this year. There's going to be a regression, maybe not by much, and maybe one of those tight ends, Claire or Ferguson, get some of those touchdowns. But yeah, something there's about to be a shift in this offense.
Definitely. Classic Mike in the comments says, Tipp, try and sell me Jacoby Lane. Is there any way to sell Jacoby Lane or even Elijah Surratt, who the Baltimore Ravens both drafted this year, to pair up with Zay Flowers?
The only thing I could sell you on him is 6'4". He's a good target for Lamar Jackson. Other than that, man, it's going to be hard, because I really want to see what Declan Doyle does with this offense. I've been kind of studying his offense and what his tendencies are a little bit. And I think it's going to be really interesting what he does with Lamar Jackson. I think this is going to unlock some things that Lamar Jackson maybe hasn't done before, or maybe hasn't, done in a while. And I think that you can carve out, when you're 6'4" like that, you can always carve out yourself a role. Now the thing is, can he get the separation? Can he get that? That's to be seen. But hey, look, I know Lamar Jackson likes those bigger targets, especially down in the red zone. So that one, but it's going to be a tough sell. I just have to go for it, because there's really nobody on there. JJ Zacharyson was right when he said that looking at this year's rookie, like the rookie class, it's unflattering to be doing rookie drafts right now. And it is, man. It's just not a good year. And Evan, you talked about it just a few minutes ago, how next year is just going to be this big, badass year. But sometimes when we think that it's a bad year, you can get some gems that come out of it.
That's the thing. I keep telling people, like, it remains to be unknown which 2 or 3 players are going to surprise us, because that always happens. One of them is undrafted, another one is in the 4th round, and another one is in the 7th round. Like
Right.
the running backs last year, like nobody really pegged Kyle Monungai in the 7th round to be a great 1-2 punch with DeAndre Swift on my Bears last year. And being a Rutgers running back, he came out like Isaiah Pacheco, ran like he was angry at the ground, and took the Bears to the NFC Divisional Championship round. So that was something that I think will also surprise people. I don't think Jacoby Lane is necessarily going to be surprising people, but hey, at least we have some of these guys like I really like here. Vince Mapstone took a couple of tight ends. I'm not totally sold on Stowers as much as I love his athleticism, but Justin Joly is a guy that I freaking love out of North Carolina State. I love his route running. Do you think he's going to be a guy that could potentially replace Evan Ingram as big as he is at 263?
Evan Ingram last year, I don't know a lot about Jolie. I don't know enough about him to say that. But I will tell you this, Evan Ingram really disappointed last year, and it seems to me that may have lost a step. It was really interesting to see what they were going to do with him, because when they brought him on, everybody was talking Joker. Even Sean Payton, who I don't even know why I sit there and listen to. I can't stand the guy. He lies. He's not a good. He doesn't care about your fantasy team, people. So just get it all out of there. The running back situation is gonna be a mess, and you just can't believe anything that this guy says. So anyway, he says, "Oh, he's gonna be a Joker. This, that, the third." And Evan Ingram just did nothing last year, and he was banged up a little bit. So yeah, you insert a kid who they see a need at tight end, especially at Sean Payton's offense. You need a good tight end. So hey, yeah, there's going to be a possibility that he could shine really early, because Evan Ingram just is not it. Evan.
No, I mean, I loved my namesake when he was a rookie on the New York Football Giants, but
Yeah.
he kept getting hurt, and then finally when he was healthy, he was having some problems catching the football, which I think was more of a symptom of the Giants' passing offense being a mess. But then he went to the Jaguars, and then he had one good season over there too before getting hurt. And then with the Denver Broncos, I don't think that the Sean Payton system has been helping a guy like an Evan Ingram either. But now that he's in his 30s and he's probably in the twilight of his career, it's not too surprising that Denver's going to start taking shots on tight end to see who fits in with this system. But I'll tell you another tight end I really, really like, Tip, is Oscar Delp, who might have the greatest...
A lot of people have been talking. Tell me about him, Evan.
Well, not only does he have a really cute, wonderful dog that we saw at his house during draft night, but I love the same thing for between great route running, fast, great hands, and a guy that I could easily see jumping ahead of both Juwan Johnson and Noah Fant within about 2 seasons. Delp is a guy to me that you're going to be sticking on your taxi squad for quite a while, but I mean, he was fantastic at Georgia, and I'm looking forward to see how Kellen Moore and the Saints use him. He's going to get plenty of preseason playing time, so I'm hoping he proves me right by August.
I'll tell you what, man, I am so high on the Saints offense coming into this season. Dude, I'm high on, and it's crazy because at first I wasn't really high on Travis Etienne. But now I'm starting to really see what's going on here, and I was really high on Tyler Shuck. I think Tyler Shuck can make a big jump in 2026, and then now I'm starting to just believe in everybody in the offense, even Jordan Tyson. That I understand you're a rookie. I think he can go out there and flash. I'm looking at this kid Delp now. An acrobatic catcher, that. That's what this offense needs. That tight end, Juwan Johnson, is a good tight end. He's a big tight end, and they need that too. But yeah, the Noah Fant thing possibly out of there. It looks like their offensive line has also had some upgrades. It looks like they. I was talking to Debro from Fantasy Pros, and he's very high on this Saints offensive line. He thinks that they can make a really good push and help this whole team as a whole. And so I'm excited about it, man. So hey, you're adding more. That's what I was saying. Going into the draft, I was like, man, obviously the Saints need a wide receiver. You know, we didn't know who they were gonna get, but we knew they needed a wide receiver, and we knew they needed another tight end. Just to shore up depth, but also to help shook with the middle of the field. So yeah, man, this is gonna be exciting, dude. This offense is on the roll.
Yeah, and even last year, I was telling people for the 2025 season, the Saints skill players like Alvin Kamara and Chris Olave were practically free, and you could easily get them at a discounted value in redraft leagues or even in dynasty startups. You could still get a really good value on them. So it was FLGRJ who took Jordan Tyson at fourth overall in this rookie draft. You were going to say something too, Tip. What was that?
No, I was just going to say the whole thing about Chris Olave is it's just how night and day his play has been in just a short time. A lot of people always talk about how him and Derek Carr didn't see eye to eye, didn't get along or whatnot or whatever it was. But you can really see, like, there was times where I was telling people to, steer away from Chris Olave in Dynasty too, because he just was those guys that didn't score touchdowns, did a lot of work in the middle of the field, didn't see eye to eye with Derek Carr. But man, now since all of that has changed, oh man, it's like, oh, okay, now we got to go back and try to get Chris Olave, but you can't give it. You can't get him right now. He's too hot. He's too much of a commodity, and I think he's going to continue to be a commodity, even with other pass catchers. This kid is electric. He's dynamic, and he has a connection with Tyler Shuck.
I don't know if people realized this last year, but Chris Olave quietly finished as a wide receiver 6 in PPR leagues. That's how fantastic he was.
Yeah,
everybody was so. Out. Yeah, everybody was so scared of him because, concussions and injuries, and people love to paint these narratives, write these narratives and paint these pictures about certain players when they feel emotionally let down by them. But Chris Olave was drafted in the first, actually, he was a second-round pick, if I'm not mistaken. But he was a high pick for a good reason for the Saints, because this was a guy they definitely wanted in their future. Jordan Tyson now, drafted 8th overall in this. Like, this is a guy that also had some injury concerns, knee injury, broken collarbone, hamstring injury. That's all in the past now, people. You can let it go. You can draft Jordan Tyson with confidence. He's not injured until he actually is. So Tyson at 104 is perfectly fine, right?
It's perfectly fine for me. There's a need at that position. There's a need for that team. Yes, that's perfectly fine.
Totally. But some of the other key wide receivers that were taken in the first round as well between, we know that Carnell Tate is going to be the man over in Tennessee. I don't see how he doesn't build chemistry with Cam Ward, but Mekhi Lemon, I think, is a little more interesting to me because we have to play a wait-and-see game with the Philadelphia Eagles, as after June 1st is when the Eagles prefer to trade A.J. Brown because it's going to save them a lot of money when they wait that long. Maybe it's the Patriots, maybe it's not, who knows, but this number 20 overall pick says A.J. Brown is signed, sealed, delivered. He's going to go bye-bye. As if it wasn't obviously enough when they signed Marquise Hollywood Brown and then they paid Dontavian Wicks an extra $12.5 million to stick around for 2027. So, Mekhi Lemon, how does he fit into this offense with Nick Sirianni? I don't remember who their new offensive coordinator is, but he's pretty much... Yeah. Oh, yeah, Sean Mannion, the former quarterbacks coach who, Saquon Barkley already loves Sean Mannion, but...
Yeah, that's right. How can you go from the freaking Kevin Rattulo over to, nah, dude, I'm pretty sure there are going to be a lot more smiling faces on that offense come this season. Even with all the turmoil that's going on with the the Eagles saga with Jalen Hurts and all of that. But anyway.
Yep. So assuming A.J. Brown is good as gone, we're expecting Lemon to open up as opposite Devontae Smith as the number 2 wide receiver. But with Lemon being 5'11" and 195, he's small for the position. I mean, I'm 5'9" and 180, so I'm not that much smaller than Mekhi Lemon. So that just gives you an idea of how small Lemon is. But being as fast and athletic as he is, he doesn't necessarily have to be the big-bodied wide receiver that A.J. Brown is to be the future for the Eagles, right?
Right. No, he plays a different type of play. It's weird. They both, are tough players. Like AJ Brown's a tough nose player. Like he is a tough guy to bring down. Mekhi Lemon's a tough player too. So it's just the size difference, I think, is what throws us off. But Mekhi Lemon's a dog. Like he wants to go out there and he wants to play ball. And you got to appreciate a guy like that. And you have to understand that a quarterback will appreciate a guy like that too. I do think the landing spot does suck a little bit though, Evan. I'm not gonna lie, because it's like you had a situation like if he went to the Saints, okay, that could fit. If he went to I don't know, it's just another team that needed a slot receiver at that high of a pick, then yeah, that could have worked. It's just too many mouths to feed. We don't know what this offense is going to look like. We do know that Sean Mannion is going to utilize the run way better than Kevin Patullo ever did. And
Hence Saquon Barkley loving Mannion already.
Right. It's like last year it was so easy to call Saquon Barkley a bust because he's coming off a 2,000-yard season, all of the touches, and then not only that, like there was just turmoil. We went from Kellen Moore to Kevin Rat Patullo, and then now you're over there looking at a completely different situation, a complete 180. I'm telling you, Saquon Barkley's back on the stride again. I'm going after Saquon Barkley in all of my drafts because I think, and the only thing that will stop him this year is not his coach, not the scheme. It's only injuries. That's it.
Yeah, the only thing that's stopping Saquon at this point is Saquon, and I think everybody who knows how fantasy football works knows that there was no way Barkley was going to repeat that 2,000-yard performance. And a question that I asked all the time last year on this show is that, like, if Barkley only rushes for like 1,400 yards, are you really going to be mad? Because that's still a fantastic season.
Yeah.
Barkley went to RB14, which kind of sort of hurts if you drafted him like second running back or third running back off the board, but he still had a good season considering how talented he is. He was just horribly misused. But at the same time, yeah, this is going to be good for this Eagles offense. And the other thing of this Eagles offense that worries me is Eli Stowers. As like I said earlier, very athletic tight end, very talented. You could probably line him up at wide receiver, being that he's only 6'4" and 235, like a body build like an Evan Ingram out there his rookie year. But talk me into this, Tip. Am I wrong for putting Eli Stowers as my tight end 5 in my rookie rankings, knowing that he landed on the Eagles?
There's a need, but there's also Dallas Goedert there. So I would kind of pump the brakes on that with him because you got to understand that the chemistry that Jalen Hurts and Dallas Goedert have known to have now, it's on a different level because Dallas Goedert not a real big touchdown guy in the last couple of in his career. Last year, he got 11 touchdowns. That's a chemistry thing. And there's a comfortability. Now, Stowers can come in there because there's a need for another athletic body in this offense. But again, it's the NFL. I think you're looking long term. You're not looking. I don't think he's going to be one of those tight ends. I don't think he's going to be a Brock Bowers when Brock Bowers came out his rookie year. I don't think that he's going to be a Tyler Warren from last year. No, I think that he's going to be one of those guys who flashes from time to time. Maybe Rondé Gatson. That's what you're looking at. You're looking at a guy like everybody pumps up. They're like, oh my God, did you see what he did in that game? And everybody goes ballistic for him in waivers, and then he shits the bed the next few weeks. Because just there's not enough opportunity for him. They don't pass the ball in Philly. I don't think. Look, I think they'll pass the ball more than 21 times. But they're not going to go away from the run. And Jalen Hurts, he's not a pass happy, like a heavy volume guy. So, I think Star Wars is going to have to wait his turn.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, is that I think Eli Stowers, if he has any shot to replace Dallas Goedert, he's most definitely going to wait. I think Goddard is in a contract year at this point. He's in the final year. If Side note, if you already have Dallas Goedert on your dynasty team, now would probably be a good time to try to sell high on him if you can. But that's
Yes,
probably going to
good
be a lot
call.
harder now that Stowers landed on the Eagles.
Yeah.
And you're not kidding about the touchdown count that Dallas Goedert had. First time in his career he's ever had double-digit touchdowns, and at the same time, 4, 5, 3, 4, 3, 3, 2, and then now 11 all of a sudden. Like, who the hell saw that coming? But yeah, Eli Stowers, I ended up putting him at tight end 5, being that it's like what we were talking about. I thought there were just too many mouths to feed in this offense, and I don't see how he gets a shot compared to like a Justin Jolie, an Oscar Delp, or a Max Clare. I have all of those guys behind Kenyon Sadiq and ahead of Stowers. So, Claire, Jolly, and Delp didn't go until the third round. So, yeah, we talked a bit about about all three of those guys already, but there's still no case that you can make to take any of them over Stowers at this point, right?
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, they're like those guys have opportunity. You just talked about Delp. You know, he has an opportunity in a good offense. An offense we know that is going to be better. Jolly, he has an opportunity because there's a need there for him because Evan Ingram is kicked the bucket. Like he's done. You know, so and Claire's the only one. That's the one that I'm kind of like, well, you know, because I'm you know, trying not to give too much away, but you know, Terrence Ferguson is there, and then you know you got a situation where, with that, so that one he could be in that Sowers, you know, in that situation, that boat as well, where he's like, man, he just can't get the adequate amount of playing time consistently.
Definitely. That's all I see for the tight ends this year, because outside of that, I do not want to touch any other tight ends in this particular draft. To me, this seems like the most upside we have in this draft is wide receiver, because running back, you could probably make a case for when you're looking at Emmett Johnson being the backup to Ken Walker, Claiborne getting a shot, Katron Allen maybe taking over that running back by committee over in Washington. I just remember how many people were thinking that it was going to be Jeremiah Love going to the Washington Commanders, and I was like, get out of here, guys. They love their running back by committee. It ain't happening. So out of all these running backs on the board that were taken on the board, though, Tip, do you think any of these are going to surprise us as far as their landing spot and what they could possibly do in their respective offenses?
Well, the Nicholas Singleton, I mean that one right there, you know, once he gets back to full health, I think that one could be one of those that towards the end of the season, because with running backs, you got to always look at something. There's always several running backs that come on strong at the end of the season. And you know, whether it be due to injury, whether it be, you know, the other running backs just not playing good, maybe they're, you know, getting more snaps and more reps in practice, showing that they can take on a full load. Maybe they made a couple of good plays during a game and the coach is like, hey, let me give it. Nick Singleton is that guy. Mike Washington is very interesting. I still think that Ashton Genty is going to get 15 to 18 touches per game. And then, you know, Mike Washington will be sprinkled in with that 8 to 10 range. And, you know, there could be times where Mike Washington is just on a heater and they give him a shot too. But if there's another guy too, I like the fit Adam Randall in Baltimore. I got him in a couple of drafts too. And I just like the fit because of Declan Doyle again. I think that the Declan Doyle, sorry, my daughter called me. The Declan Doyle piece is he's going to want to utilize this guy in a bunch of space. And he's big, he's powerful. He can run routes. He can get in space. And if he can get in space, behind that offensive line, and with somebody who's as dangerous as Lamar Jackson, and let's don't forget Derrick Henry, because you can utilize him differently. And so I like that Adam Randall guy. I think that there's a spot for him, and I think Declan Doyle can unleash something.
So I guess I have a two-part question for you. Speaking of Adam Randall and the Declan Doyle offense, so maybe you've done better research than I have about Declan Doyle, because when he was the offensive coordinator for the Bears, he was more or less keeping Ben organized, to put it for a lack of a better way to put it, with the offense that Ben wanted in this system. I'm sure he learned a lot from Ben Johnson too. So part A, what do you see in Doyle that's going to make this Ravens offense any better than what Todd Monken or Greg Roman did for this? And two, sell me Adam Randall that he's not just another Antonio Gibson.
He very well might be an Antonio Gibson. I just think that there's an opportunity there. Derrick Henry is, look, man, when it happens, it's going to happen quickly. I don't want to say it because I just love watching him play. So I think there's an opportunity for him. And look, Declan Doyle, look, from what I've seen in it is, I've read that he was a control guy, like you said last year, but he does have different schemes and fits that he wants to deploy with Lamar Jackson, that he thinks that Lamar Jackson has not been utilized to some of those potential. So I think that he's going to switch up what he's maybe done in the past, maybe add some RPO to it as well, because he's got Lamar Jackson. I think it's going to be something that he's having this toy that he can play with, and he's looking to unleash this whole offense. And I think that Lamar Jackson, what Todd Monken did for him when Lamar Jackson was bought in, was great. I think Lamar Jackson slowly became out with John Harbaugh, with the philosophies, all of the things that went on there, and you soon lost Lamar Jackson. That's what happened last year. I think that he was hurt. I'm not going to say he wasn't hurt, but sometimes when you want to play for your coach and you really, really, really want to go out there and go through a wall for your coach, you'll play hurt. And Lamar, he didn't play hurt. He did some things that, he set out. I'm not saying again that he can't play hurt, but again, it's just one of those things. I look at different aspects of that way. I look at their body languages, what they're saying, and there was several times he was like, "I don't know, go ask the coach. I don't know, go ask the coach." Like that doesn't speak well. I think Lamar Jackson will be on board with Declan Doyle. I think that Declan Doyle can unleash something in Lamar Jackson, and hopefully unleash something in this offense to give it some more life.
It's going to be fascinating to see what the Ravens do now with Jesse Minter taking over the show and having Declan Doyle as their OC. This is probably going to be a new-look Ravens altogether with how long they've had John Harbaugh. It's hard to imagine what this team even looks like without John running the show. But, yeah, you do bring up a good point with Lamar Jackson. I think he was pretty much over John Harbaugh as his head coach, just like a lot of the team was, too. He basically overextended his stay. It was time to go. So we'll see how well he does on the New York Football Giants and what the Ravens look like with two wide receivers that they've drafted. I don't really have anything to say about Elijah Surratt or who was the other guy they took?
Jacoby Lane.
Jacoby Lane.
Yeah.
Are they really going to be more than special teamers?
I mean, maybe at first, but I think Jacoby Lane, again, because of that size, that I don't know enough about Surratt, but as far as Jacoby Lane, USC, he's got the size, like I was talking about. That Lamar Jackson, I think he can find himself a role. Can he get separation? That's going to be yet to be seen. But again, I think we're looking at a bunch of Zay Flowers, a bunch of Mark Andrews, a bunch of Derrick Henry, and then maybe that Adam Randall kid. Maybe he could carve himself out a little role. The football guys rookie guide, who, by the way, if you guys don't have the rookie guide from Football Guys, please go out there and get it. That's what I use, because I don't get to watch a lot of college football, because during the regular season I'm so enthralled in the NFL football. It's just it's a 365 thing with me, NFL football. So I revert a lot to the rookie guide, and then I watch film from there. And that rookie guide again, fantasy, excuse me, with football guys is amazing. Please go out there and get that. Helps me tremendously.
I can confirm, by the way, I've had the Football Guys rookie draft guide in the past as well. I last looked at the 2024 season, if I'm not mistaken. It's a really information packed guide that the team did a really good job with that competes with the best of the best in the industry. Footballguys.com, and go get that draft guide after the show, folks.
Yeah, it's free. Gratis.
Yes, sir. So looking back at this overall draft board, we had one guy leave, unfortunately, but not that we can see actual teams, but who do you think overall had the best 3-round draft here that will at least make a team instantly better?
I do like your tandem running backs, but that Claire pickup, it's kind of throwing it off. Let's see here. I like, you know what? I like this classic Mike. I like the Makai Lemon. I like that Malachi Fields pick. I've been reading, I read up a little bit on him Saturday, how they're going to use him as a power forward. And I was like, what? Like, I don't know what that means. So I'm going to, definitely look more into that. I do know he's a big receiver. So that team could use that. And then this Ty Simpson guy here, man, I think he's going to make some noise eventually. Not right away, obviously, but I think he's going to make some noise. Let's see. A lot of people are talking about this Jonah Coleman. Hard for me to trust Sean Payton, man. I really can't trust him. I'm going to go with Classic Mike. Classic Mike has a good start so far. He's definitely going to have to go running back next. But good luck on that. But, yeah.
There you go, Classic Mike. You've got the tip approval for this. I'm sure it hurt him a bit to go Makai Lemon at 105 because he's a Giants fan. So I'm sure he had to swallow his pride a bit there.
Yeah. So, look, you got to do that in fantasy, guys. You got, one thing I remember Scott the King Angle told me. I was like, Scott, yo, give me some advice. Give me some advice. You're a Hall of Famer. He was like, you want to know? I'll give you some advice, Tip. The advice from me is you never draft with your heart. And that's exactly what and I was like, okay, so go deeper into that. He was like, I am a Seahawks fan. I cannot stand the LA Rams. But I will pick up an LA Ram if it's going to make my fantasy team better. And so yeah, you got to sometimes, guys, you got to, swallow the pride, swallow the hate, and just do it. I do it too, even because I cannot stand the LA Chargers. I cannot stand that symbol, that logo. But you better well damn believe that I have Justin Herbert on a couple of my teams. I got Amarian Hampton. I had Keenan Allen before. I'm gonna draft these players. You know what's funny, Evan? The only Charger I've never had was LaDainian Tomlinson. I've never had him in any of my fantasy leagues. I've never
quite the legend.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I wasn't playing fantasy consistently when LaDainian Tomlinson was in the NFL. I would imagine he was going at the 101 all the time.
Oh, yeah, dude. I remember my first draft, I had the second pick. LT went first, and I picked Carson Palmer second because I was like, he's a quarterback. He's going to get a bunch of points. And I didn't know what I was doing. So, yeah, and then LT has, I think he had a streak where he was going number one overall. Because I believe he was PPR number one for a lot of years too. He was a wrecking force to be. Good Lord, yeah,
I'm jumbling my words. That's how amazing he was back in his time. But as we're coming to the top of the hour here, we're gonna start to wind things down here. So, ladies, gentlemen, and all those in between or outside of it, this has been another episode of Monday Night Mock Drafts with Evan. Once again, I'd like to thank my guest Tipp Major for joining us this evening. Be sure to follow Tipp on Twitter at TippMajor. You can also find him on Bluesky at tippmajor.bsky.social. Be on the lookout for more of Tipp's articles on both FantasyLife.com and FootballGuys.com. Subscribe to the Sports Affiliation Network on YouTube so you can catch Tipp and Greg for some Q&A. Tipp, is there anything else that people should check out from you?
Yes. I would be remiss if I did not talk about this. Me and a couple of friends, Nico Rossler, he works with Rotoballer, and Nader Saba. We are starting a podcast. It is going to be called FF Space Pod. That's Fantasy Football Space Pod. It's a fun name because we did this. We started on Spaces on X. That's where I kind of started, was on X on Spaces. So we dropped the S, and now it's going to be FF Space Pod. Please follow that, guys, at FF Space Pod. You can follow us on X. We are setting up our YouTube account. Our podcast, we're looking to start in June. So we are just finishing up some things. We have a meeting here in just a few more minutes. And also, we have a sponsor, too. So look out for them as well, Golden Watt Cognac. But yeah, man, we're doing some really fun things, some big things. This is our year, and we're excited.
That's excellent. So FF Space Pod can be found on all podcast platforms, Apple, Spotify, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, we're working on Spotify and Apple. I think that's what our meeting's about tonight. But we are on X, we're on Instagram, and we are on YouTube right now.
Excellent. So punch that in Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube, or wherever you choose to open this up with. I'm sure they'll get it going soon on Spotify and Instagram. So, folks, we're going to wrap this up again for tonight. Be sure to tune in next week here for Monday Night Mock Draft with Evan for a surprise mock draft. We haven't decided what we're doing yet with Jeff Lambert of Going for Two. You will not want to miss that. This has been Monday Night Mock Draft with Evan signing off. Have a great night, folks. We'll see you all next week. Take care.